We all remember these classic team orders radio messages and their subsequent aftermaths. Rubens, let Michael pass for the championship. Fernando is faster than you. Multi-21, Seb. It's been banned, unbanned, rebanned, unbanned throughout the history of the pinnacle of motorsport. It's been a major talking point throughout the years, and it's always criticized by armchair Formula One experts every time. And after the 2024 Hungarian Grand Prix, where Oscar Piastri took his maiden victory in a similar manner to how Danny Ricciardo took his one and only win with McLaren, the subject of team orders has once again been brought up. And yes, while I agree that it shouldn't happen aside from certain circumstances, such as if a driver is nowhere close to battling for a championship and needs to let his teammate who is battling for a championship past him so, they can secure maximum points possible towards the middle to the end of the championship year, I have no argument against that, and honestly, neither should you. Team orders definitely has its flaws, especially when it's obvious team orders favoring the obvious first driver over the second driver. But here's the thing, and hear me out. In this instance, McLaren did nothing wrong.
And that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in Grand Prix racing.
We make the sound of the satellite, breaking through gravity. I am Jagger 67. I'm affected, you're selected. I want you with your twisted hair and your lip ring stare.
Today.
By my calculations, we win the championship by 1 point.
Rubens, let Michael pass for the championship was completely unnecessary so early into the 2001 season.
Rubens, it's last lap. Let Michael pass for the championship. Let Michael pass for the championship, Rubens, please.
And in retrospect, it was even more unnecessary given that after that fateful 2001 Austrian Grand Prix, Michael Schumacher annihilated David Coulthard. But it didn't end there. At the very same race the next year, they fucking did it again. This time, though, Schumacher was so dominant. That year, he won the championship with, 6 races left in the season, and literally gave a win back to Barrichello as a sign of respect and appreciation. And from that race onwards, team orders were banned. But did that stop the teams from finding clever little ways to circumnavigate the ban? Well, this is Formula One. If you can't answer that question, you obviously haven't been around long enough to remember Felipe Massa letting Kimi Räikkönen overtake him at his home Grand Prix to ensure Räikkönen would win the 2007 World Championship. You especially weren't around for Fernando is faster than you. That robbed Felipe Massa of an epic victory just 1 day shy of the 1-year anniversary of his near-fatal accident in the qualifying session of the 2009 Hungarian Grand Prix, where he was almost unalived by a spring from Rubens Barrichello's homicidal Brawn GP.
Okay, Fernando is faster than you. Confirm you understood the message. Okay, mate, good lad. Just stick with him now. Sorry.
And who could possibly forget Multi-21, Seb? Yeah, Multi-21.
Multi-21, Seb. Yeah, Multi-21.
Formula One teams always find loopholes to cheat the rules, and they were all getting away with team orders well into the ban, to the point where the FI just said fuck it and abolished the ban because there was no way they could enforce it without disqualifying pretty much the entire grid every single Grand Prix weekend. That's why in the modern age of Formula One, we just have straight up "Valtteri, it's James" radio messages.
So you need to let Lewis buy into turn 13 this lap.
Lewis Hamilton sees the checkered flag and wins the Russian Grand Prix.
That's for all the kids out there who dream the impossible. You can do it too, man. I believe in you guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for your support.
Which brings us to the 2024 Hungarian Grand Prix. It was the first McLaren 1-2 front row lockout since the 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix. Lando Norris claimed his third pole position of his career during a season where he actually might be seriously contending for a championship, and his teammate Oscar Piastri, a driver prodigy that has risen through the ranks of Formula 3 and Formula 2 and absolutely wiped the floor with his rivals in both junior categories. And while his rookie season started off with McLaren arguably having the worst car on the grid, McLaren turned their car around by the 2023 British Grand Prix, and Piastri went on to have the most successful rookie season since Lewis Hamilton's rookie season in 2007, albeit he didn't compete for the championship. He was competing for wins by the end of the year, most notably the 2023 Qatar Grand Prix, where he won the sprint race and was within breathing distance of a dominant Max Verstappen during the actual race. I think it was within this Grand Prix we all knew it was an inevitability Piastri would win a Formula 1 race. And with the fact that Lando was in his 5th season in the sport, there was even talk of Oscar claiming his maiden Grand Prix before Lando would. Luckily for Lando, that would be the case after his phenomenal maiden victory at my home state of Florida in the 2024 Miami Grand Prix. And seeing McLaren's comeback, a Piastri victory was looking like it was going to soon follow suit. Just 7 races later, it came, but at a price, and that price being team orders.
Okay, Lando, Oscar has just pitted. He will likely come out just behind you. We'd like to re-establish the order at your convenience.
Okay, Oscar, so once you get to Lando, we will swap position, but we want to avoid Lando having to give up a lot of race time.
Okay, Lando, the position behind is Oscar's 3.8 behind, then Hamilton and Leclerc are 12, and Max is right behind him. We need you to save more tyres, please, and we do want to let Oscar through.
We should have boxed him first then, surely, no?
Doesn't matter.
I mean, it does. For me, maybe.
Lando, he can't catch you up. You've proved your point, and it really doesn't matter.
He's on much quicker tyres. I mean, I would have tried to undercut anyway. If I didn't, I would have gone long.
Mate, we did the stop sequence in this order for the good of the team.
Yeah, I'm fighting for a championship.
Okay, I'm trying to protect you, mate. I promise, I'm trying to protect you. And Lando, there are 5 laps to go. The way to win a championship is not by yourself, it's with the team. You're going to need Oscar, and you're going to need the team.
When was the moment for Andrea Stella to step in and go, enough of this, I'm going to issue a direct instruction?
So if there's a safety car now, it's going to make this very awkward. Please do it now.
Lando Norris is backing off. He was on the cusp of a second Grand Prix victory. Oscar Piastri goes back through into the lead of a Grand Prix.
Yeah, you don't need to say anything.
He was a champion in Formula 3, a champion in Formula 2. He announced himself in Formula 1 with a tweet that said he would not be driving for another team. It turned out that he would be driving for McLaren, and he's taking that McLaren to the top step of the podium. The Australian driver advances all the way to the checkered flag. Oscar Piastri wins for the first time in Formula 1. It's a McLaren 1-2. And the driver who grew up hearing V10 engines in his back garden because he lives so close to the track in Melbourne is now one of the winning group. As Lewis Hamilton claims, his 200th podium in Formula 1.
Well done, Oscar, well done. Checkered flag. Well done, buddy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thanks for the coordination. Well done. Maximum points. Really good weekend. Well done, good 1-2, good load of points. Congrats team, well deserved.
As we said this morning, mate, many more opportunities.
How difficult was it for you to give up the race win?
I mean, I didn't give up the race win. I lost the race win off the line. So I know everyone's going to want to say that as a story that I gave up the race win. I didn't. I boxed first. You always going to undercut. So the team gave me this position and I gave it back.
Now, if you've been watching the sport as long as I have, and especially longer than I have, it doesn't take a nuclear physicist to decode what he was saying, because any longtime Formula One fan that's been watching the sport since, say, the 1980s can clearly tell that there was a teammates agreement in effect. What is a teammates agreement, you may ask? A teammates agreement is a pact between two teammates that typically is made if they achieve a front row lockout in qualifying, where whoever comes out of the first corner first won't be challenged for the race win. The teammates agreement has been around for almost as long as Formula One's existence. Piastri came out first after the first corner. Therefore, it was Oscar's race win in the eyes of not only Lando and Oscar, but McLaren as well. Where the controversy really started was when McLaren fucked up the pit stop strategy, go figure, it's not the first time it's happened, and called Lando into the pit lane first, which caused him to undercut Piastri. McLaren and Piastri wanted to keep the teammates agreement in place. Lando complied. Lando himself said he didn't deserve the win. Oscar did. That right there is a teammate. End of story. There shouldn't be any more fucking discussion after it. Now, I could be lazy and just end the video here, but I want to go further into this to just get the point across that these teammates agreements are important for the relationship between two teammates. Let's rewind to 1982. Gilles Villeneuve and Didier Pironi had a teammates agreement for that year's San Marino Grand Prix, where Villeneuve beat Pironi into Tamburello. Pironi famously broke the agreement and took the race win from Villeneuve, which resulted in Villeneuve swearing he would never speak to Pironi again for the rest of his life. And the feud that followed killed Villeneuve 2 weeks later. A few years later, in 1989, Senna and Prost had the very same agreement at the same Imola circuit, funnily enough. This one was more complicated because there was actually two race starts. The first one, Prost had a terrible start and Senna beat Prost into Tamburello, with several cars in between him and Prost. However, Gerhard Berger decided he wanted to try his hand at becoming the Human Torch, and the race was red flagged and restarted. During the second restart, Prost got a great start and came out ahead of Senna into Tamburello, only for Senna to overtake him going into Tosa. Apparently, Senna believed that because he came out ahead of Prost in the first race start, that meant the agreement between the two drivers was still in effect, meaning that Senna had won the agreement despite the race start. Prost disagreed, and the incident arguably ignited their feud that led to that famous incident at Suzuka later that year, and the feud would last right up until Prost's final race in 1993. There's plenty of other examples, but those are the two more prolific. The point is, Lando and Oscar clearly made one of those teammate agreements going into the 2024 Hungarian Grand Prix. Whether it was at the driver's behest or the team's still remains unclear at the moment. The radio messages seem to indicate that it was the team's decision, but as we all know in the Formula One world, looks can be deceiving, and despite the radio messages between Lando and his race engineer Will Joseph, Lando claims he always intended to comply with the agreement, but wanted to do it on the final corner of the final lap. Some say Lando was waiting that long to prove a point, and that he could have easily won the race. And who knows, maybe that's true, but I believe him when he says he always intended to comply with the agreement, because I have no reason to believe otherwise. If I'm wrong and he's lying through his teeth, then I'm wrong and Lando's a fucking liar. But the way he's been answering all the questions surrounding the team orders, I'd bet my life it was because of a teammate's agreement. In Lando's words, Oscar deserved the win. It was always his win coming out of turn one. Anyway, this is just my take on the subject because I am a fan of both Lando and Oscar, and I think they're probably the best driver pair on the current grid. And I've been waiting for both drivers to claim their maiden victory, some longer than others. I just want to see other people see that this shouldn't taint Oscar Piastri's maiden victory. Despite the circumstances, I personally believe he still earned it. He controlled the race for the first 47 laps out of 70. McLaren screwed the pooch on the pit stop strategy, but hey, what else is new? If anything, at worst, the team just didn't want to take a win away from Piastri because they fucked him over on the pit stop. Do I hate that Lando lost a win out of it and lost out on probably much needed points going towards his championship campaign against Verstappen in the first year he's actually competing for a championship? absolutely, but at the end of the day, I firmly believe Lando will get more wins, and so will Piastri. That McLaren is on fire this year, and Red Bull are seemingly having some bizarre luck. Strangely, after Adrian Newey announced he was leaving the team, boy, does that get the noggin jogging. I did also see somebody saying that Checo Perez's habit of totaling his car every race weekend is hindering Red Bull from spending their money on upgrades to their cars, due to the repair bills falling under the cost cap. So this is still Verstappen's championship to lose, and while Lando has a lot of catching up to Verstappen before he's genuinely in a title fight, it's possible he can catch up to Verstappen before the year is out. And like Will Joseph said to Lando on the radio, Lando is still going to need Piastri one day to help him out. Lando, being the sportsman he was in Hungary, has ensured Piastri will be happy enough that he's not being treated like a number 2 driver and will repay the favor at a later date. Formula One is a team sport. Despite what the last 14 years has primarily shown, there's still moments where teammates sacrifice points, positions, podiums, and yes, even wins, to ensure that the title contender gets the maximum amount of points they can possibly get. So I'll end this off by saying, shut the fuck up about team orders already. It's never gonna go away. And in the case of the Hungarian Grand Prix, it was a sportsmanship decision, not a selfish Rubens, let Michael pass for the championship, or Fernando is faster than you, or Valtteri, it's James, or Checo, we want you to lap 2 seconds slower than Max. Learn the difference between the two and which one is actually based on what's beneficial and what's based on menial ego boosts. Baphomet out.
Hold on to your dreams.